It's the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion. This is for Thursday, the 10th of October. I'm Michael Groff. Well, we continue with our streak of record-breaking high temperatures. Yesterday made it 16 days in a row. Yes, this started all the way back on the 24th of September, and it is likely to continue today, tomorrow, and into the weekend. But temperatures are going to gradually trend down as we head into next week, and we should see afternoon highs maybe getting closer to seasonal averages with time. We'll talk about some rain chances along the way as well. Plus, we had Hurricane Milton make landfall last night, crossed the Florida Peninsula. It's now out over the Atlantic, and the cleanup is underway. The devastation left in its wake. We'll talk about everything else going on, too, as we dive on in and discuss. First, here's that almanac from yesterday. There it is. 106 degrees was a record-breaking afternoon high. 79 the morning low, and that was a record warm low temperature for the date. 92 and 69 are the averages for this time of year. And as we check out the tallies for the year here, now we're up to 136 days. I think that should actually say 137 days. Let me check my, let's check the graphics over here. And yeah, sure enough, I did not update that graphic. So let me do that. There we go. Live on the video. How about that? So 137 days now with a high temperature at or above 100 degrees. And again, we might just fall short of that all-time record. I guess we'll have to see. All right, as we take a look outside right now at 8:40 a.m., we've got sunny sky. We've got 86 degrees at Sky Harbor, dew points 36, humidity 17%, a calm wind, and the barometer is steady. Let's check the upper level view here, the infrared satellite and upper level heights here across the western half of the country. We're still dominated by ridging here that extends from off the Southern California coast all the way up into the northern plains. The main belt of westerlies is far to the north of us for now. And yeah, there's a few high clouds over the southern part of the state this morning, and there was the leftovers of that weak little wave that came through here yesterday. There might be a stray thunderstorm over southeast Arizona or the eastern mountains today or western New Mexico. But other than that, things are going to be very quiet. Dry and hot conditions will continue into the weekend. The watch warning map, we still have some hurricane force winds just off the Atlantic coast of Florida. Some tropical storm force winds continue over the east coast of Florida, and some wind advisories as well. And there's still obviously some flood warnings that are ongoing, and those are going to continue for a while because of the incredible amounts of rain that fell last night. Freshwater flooding was really the big story, although storm surge was an issue for parts of the Florida coast too, from around Siesta Key, where Milton made landfall last night, southward to Sarasota and Venice, and even into Fort Myers Beach. Some storm surge. Tampa Bay was spared the worst of the storm surge issue, but they had plenty of damage from wind. The pictures, if you saw Tropicana Field where the Tampa Bay Rays play, that the roof was just taken off, it was just peeled away. That was a sight to see. Elsewhere, things are quiet. We do have an air quality alert, by the way. That's in effect through 9 p.m. this evening. All right, now we'll take a look at that convective outlook for today. No organized severe weather. Again, a little thunder maybe for the White Mountains, parts of western New Mexico. The tropics in the Atlantic Basin. There's a couple of notes here. First of all, we've got two hurricanes still on the board. There's Milton, there's Leslie. There was that little wave out east of the Bahamas that's moving out into the Atlantic, and for a time yesterday, that looked like the Hurricane Center was giving that a chance to develop. It will not. I did see the Daily Mail, and I'm just going to call them out by name, posted on Twitter yesterday, Twitter X, that little X that was east of Florida was actually potentially headed toward Florida after Milton. And again, misinformation aplenty, even from so-called reputable sources of information. Now, I would hardly call the Daily Mail one. It's just another clickbait deal. And so whenever you get information about weather, I suggest please, please, please double check. Try to find a very reliable source of credible information, people that are trying to put together good, reliable sources. I mean, we do that here on this channel, but even if you don't believe me, if you don't want to use my information, please use official sources of information, such as the National Weather Service, the National Hurricane Center, NOAA, all of those folks, for your information, not the Daily Mail and some of these other outlets that are out there. And we call them out. And I know some people don't like it when we do that, but we have to, because there are people that actually read that stuff and think that that is credible information, and it is most certainly not. All right, so let's talk about what's happening out here. We got a wave coming off the African coast. Low chance that develops. That probably gains latitude, even if it does. Leslie, this is a hurricane, but it's Category 2 right now, but this is going to weaken. It's going to head out harmlessly to sea. That's a fish storm. Now, Milton, this is pulling away from the east coast of Florida. It's doing so quickly. This thing came in quickly. It exited quickly. And I'll tell you, the model that performed very well on handling this once again was our European AI model. We were showing you that on our Milton updates and here on this discussion as well. And it pretty much nailed the path, the intensity. It did pretty much everything. Some of the rainfall distribution was a little off, but other than that, the overall idea, the European AI was the big winner in forecasting on this. And I know that this was a challenging storm to forecast for sure. All right, the information here on Milton right now. Category 1 hurricane. This is going to become a post-tropical system in the next 24 hours as it races east into the Atlantic. This will threaten no one else at this point. All right, a couple of things. Milton, very interesting with this storm. Typically tropical systems, landfalling tropical cyclones, they can produce tornadoes. We've talked about that. Rarely are they significant tornadoes, but Milton was a very special case. We had a surface boundary to the north and some very strong shear aloft. You combine that shear with the rotation around Milton, and we had a few significant tornadoes, unfortunately, yesterday, especially on the east coast of Florida, from West Palm Beach up toward Melbourne. And this one here, this is from Fort Pierce yesterday. Look at that. That looks like the kind of tornado you would see in Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma. I mean, my goodness, look at that. That is a violent wedge tornado. And the radar signature on this tornado, the TDS, the tornado debris signature, showed a height of over 30,000 feet. Debris being lofted 30,000 feet into the atmosphere. You do not see that very often. In fact, I can't remember the last time I saw that, especially a tornado in Florida. And one from a tropical system. Although, again, there were special circumstances with that because of the strong shear aloft generated great helicity and perfect conditions for violent tornadoes, especially on the east coast of Florida yesterday. That was, and unfortunately, this one, there was casualties associated with this. And we don't have the final totals on that, but we know that there were injuries and casualties and significant property damage. And you want to see how powerful a tornado like that is. Take a look at this picture. That's a dumpster thrown on top of a house. And that's not, listen, that thing, it looks like a toy just tossed. But that's probably one of those 4,000 to 6,000 pound, 2 to 3 ton dumpsters just flung on top of a house like it's nothing. And there are plenty of pictures like that from yesterday. That is tornado damage. That's not even the hurricane force winds. Incredible. All right, look at rainfall across central Florida from this. And again, freshwater flooding was an issue. Now, some of these gauges are off. Like, I don't think Odessa only had an inch of rain. But unfortunately, I think what probably happened is the gauge, the automatic gauge probably got destroyed or damaged or some sort of interference with that. And some of those gauges that showed the really low rain amounts in west central Florida probably were damaged. Now, further to the south, the rain, because of the shear, most of the rain actually occurred along and north of the circulation center, which was a little unexpected. But so St. Pete, look at that, almost 19 inches of rain. This is rainfall over the last 36 hours. So this goes back to about 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. Eastern time. I think I snapped this at 9 a.m. Eastern time this morning. So that would go back to 9 p.m. on Tuesday evening. And Tampa International Airport, yeah, almost 12 inches of rain. Lakeland, 8 to 10 inches of rain. Plant City, about 7, 8 inches of rain. So you can see there was a flash flood emergency in Tampa Bay last night. And again, Tampa Bay itself, the bay did not get the storm surge, fortunately, or very little storm surge. Most of the water was actually taken out of the bay, but from around Longboat Key and Siesta Key on south, that's where the worst of the storm surge was. But that rainfall, that's just incredible. Even 7 to 10 inch amounts in some parts of the east coast of Florida. Right, boy, we'd love to see rainfall. Maybe not like that, but we'd love to see some rainfall here. And this is the precipitation outlook valid through Thursday morning of next week. And guess what? We're just nothing in the valley. Basically nothing statewide. There might be a shower or two in northern Arizona sometime early next week. But we're not anticipating any significant or meaningful rainfall for a while. And we'll talk about why that is, what's going on with this weather pattern in more detail. To do that, we explore the models, see what the future may hold. Here we go. This is the GFS. It is the 06Z run, and it's valid at 2 o'clock this afternoon. High pressure remains the dominant feature out here across the southwest, all the way up into the northern plains and central Canada. And you see what is Milton being absorbed by a very powerful trough moving out into the Canadian Maritimes and the North Atlantic. So what it means for us down at the surface for the rest of the day today, mostly sunny and hot. Highs 102 to 106. Very similar to yesterday. Tonight, clear sky, overnight lows mainly in the 70s. And then tomorrow it's more the same. Sunny, hot, 102 to 106. As we head into the weekend, highs 101 to 105 on Saturday. The sky sunny, the air dry. High pressure continues to be the story. On Sunday, we'll nudge temperatures down another degree or two. Highs around, I'd say upper 90s to near 102 maybe. Monday, highs close to 100. As the ridging will begin to weaken, we see evidence of an upper low kind of dropping on in through the Great Basin. A weak little system. It could potentially produce a shower or two north of Arizona or maybe even across northern Arizona at some point early next week. But at this point, we anticipate our weather to stay dry, just some afternoon breezes. Tuesday, high temperatures likely to drop into the mid and upper 90s here. So we could see our final 100-degree day, at least of this stretch, and hopefully for the rest of the year, on Monday. But Tuesday still is going to be, toasty. That obviously mid and upper 90s is still above average for this time of year. Wednesday, again, mid 90s or so. The sky's sunny to mostly sunny. The air should be continued dry. Here's a week from today. This is Thursday the 17th. Troughing coming into the Pacific Northwest. And you see the upper heights are coming down here, more of a westerly flow, more of a zonal flow kind of. So temperatures will be retreating a couple more degrees. Those overnight lows will become much more pleasant. Many of us will be down in the 60s now. So that's good. Our record-breaking heat will have come to an end by then. In fact, probably Monday, I would say that's likely. We might set a record that day. If not, Sunday would be the last day, maybe Monday. And then after that, we should be done with record heat, although it will still be well above average. But as you can see, by Thursday of next week, the pattern changes a bit. That trough swings on through the west. It's not going to have any real meaningful impact other than to lower temperatures somewhat. Now, this run of the GFS is shallower, and I don't like to see that because it means temperatures wouldn't cool as much. But I still think highs will probably drop closer to 90 by the latter half of next week. This is out 10 days. It's Saturday the 19th. And again, a big ridge in the east. So this trough really doesn't have too far to go, but still dry northwesterly flow. No chance of any precipitation for us for the next 10 days in all likelihood. Speaking of, rainfall for Phoenix off the GFS ensemble. This goes out through the 24th of the month. Most of the members show nothing. The ensemble mean remains just very low. The control member is up over 1/10 of an inch, but even that, nothing to get excited about. European ensemble, pretty much the same story. Nothing to really concern ourselves with in terms of meaningful rainfall anytime soon. And temperatures off the national blend of models. Yes, we're still hot today, tomorrow, Saturday. We see that downtrend, though, as we go into next week. And look at that. The NBM actually brings us into the upper 80s. Way out there toward the end of next week and the following weekend. And overnight lows, again, in the mid-city in the 60s. And I'll tell you, if we got down to the mid or upper 60s in the mid-city, maybe the outlying desert areas could actually conceptually get into the upper 50s. Yeah. It'll feel a little bit more like fall. And that's going to do it for the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion for today. My next video is due back here tomorrow morning. Should you happen to enjoy these videos, be sure to subscribe, like, share, click that notification bell. Leave those comments, questions, and suggestions. If you really like what we do here, then click that thanks icon below the video and make those monetary contributions to us. Or you can donate directly via PayPal. groffshow@gmail.com is that PayPal address. It's groffshow@gmail.com for PayPal. The executive producer of the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion is my one and only, the sweetest of all time, the Asian sensation and proprietor of sweetchildaz.com.org and the Facebook page of the same name, Sweet Child Arizona, talking about my Michelle. Check her out. Check out everything Michelle related and tangentially Adriana related down in the description. And of course, you can check out our streaming station. That's also available 24/7, 365. Michelle and I work very hard on that. It is called KMGX. We play a ton of music and have a lot of fun with that too. So I highly suggest you give that a listen. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. All of your continued support. It is so greatly appreciated. Please be safe, stay cool, stay hydrated out there. Have yourselves a beautiful rest of your Thursday.